Hey everyone, so I thought I would start a vlog. I don't know if I'll post it or not, but I wanted to start a vlog. And right now, I am in between like 3 books. Now, the first one I started reading was like last month, and I kind of put it down for a little bit because I heard there's like cheating in it, and I don't like that. So I put this book down. I'll go and show it over here to the side. I put that one down. I did hear there was cheating in it, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like when there's cheating, because then, you know, it just makes things so complicated. She's engaged to this guy. It's not a love match, but still, it's like, you know, to me, when you go and you do an agreement with somebody, or engaged to somebody, it means you're going to commit to them. So, you know, to me, it's like, you know, you stepped into this agreement to marry this person and, you know, have heirs with them and all that stuff. So when somebody doesn't do that, and then in the meantime, it's like, I think she's getting interested in like his younger brother, I think it's the younger brother. And so I put that down for a little bit because I'm like, I'll pick it back up again. But I don't like that whole like aspect where it's like you made an agreement and so now you're like going back on it. I could see like maybe you're like, you end the engagement, but yeah, I have to finish it. I don't know when, but I'll have to finish it. I think I'm only on like a few chapters though, so I haven't delved that deeply into it. And then the second book I'm reading is this one here. It's Cheris Michaels. It's okay. It's not, I don't want to DNF it. It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow of a read, and I'm hoping that it kind of picks up a little bit, so that way it makes it, you know, kind of easier to get through. But the one I'm really into is, you know, not surprisingly, the one I'm really into is one that I'm reading on my Kindle. So it's this one here. I like it so far. It's very much, Jen from the Book Refuge had recommended it. I would say most of the books that I read are usually recommendations from Jen. So I'd say if you're not watching Jen from the Book Refuge, you should be, because most of what she recommends I read. There are a few that I'm like, I wasn't really a fan of, but I did read them. So that one there, I like it. It's very reminiscent of Outlander. So you got like this woman who, she was dumped by her boyfriend badly. Like, she goes out to dinner with her boyfriend, and in the meantime, he's packing up her shit. He's having movers pack up her stuff. And then he's like, at the end of dinner, he's like, oh yeah, I want to be with you anymore. I've been seeing someone for how many months? And your stuff is in storage in Brooklyn. And I'm like, what a fucking asshole. I'm like, what a total dick. So it's like, fuck that dude. So she goes and decides to head to Scotland. She's got dual citizenship there. Her grandmother lives there. Her parents had passed away like 4 years ago. And so she decides to head to Scotland. Well, one day she goes and she's climbing up like this cave area. It lets go and she ends up being transported into like 1735 or something like that. And it's very much like Claire from Outlander. And so far I'm like, I'm liking it. I will say that Outlander it has beautiful writing, beautiful scenery, but the only thing is that the books are so long because there's a lot of descriptive wording in it, and they could be very long, very long-winded when it comes to the story. And so I went and listened to most of an audiobook, and that audiobook was like 35 hours long, so I think I listened about half of it, and I was like, oh, I'm done. So this one here is obviously shorter, which is good. There is a good amount of description, though, in the book. There is a good amount of description. And she starts to get, attracted to the guy who ended up saving her because she almost got, essayed by two men. And so he killed those men. But there also is a trigger warning in here of sexual assault, but from another woman. Someone else gets it, not her, not the main character. And it's young person, very young. I'm glad there wasn't like a huge amount of description, because I would be just really pissed off. So I'm glad there wasn't like a whole ton of description when it came to that scene. It kind of like the character, he saw the young lady, helped her, took her back to her took her back to her father, and basically found like a whole bunch of the other people and, them. So kind of glad for that. So that's where I'm at right now. She realized that she cannot go back to her time. So she's stuck in like 1735. And so she's sad because she's a little bit depressed because her grandmother is still there. So she's like, I'm never going to see my grandma again. My grandma's going to assume I'm dead. She's going to be heartbroken, because she lost her daughter, and now she's losing her granddaughter. And so she was like depressed for like a week. But she got up and started to, live again, instead of just wallowing in, depression, which it sucks. I mean, I've gone on days like that. I've been in mental stuff like that. Like I remember like when my grandmother had passed away in 2008, I was like numb for like a year. I was numb. I didn't feel anything. Just you're in like this haze. You don't know your way out of it, and all of a sudden things start to get better. You start to feel happier, So it's grieving can, grief, it all depends on the person. Some people can kind of like get through grief really quickly. Like my uncle's kind of bounced back, easy, obviously, easier for them, but for me it took me, it took me a while to kind of like get through that. Plus also I was like the last person she saw, so I saw the light, go out in her eyes. So seeing somebody die, it changes you. So I would say to anybody who, you're dealing with the loss of a loved one, or someone's like getting close to like death, if you don't want to be in that room when they go, don't, don't, if you don't think you can handle it, do not force yourself to be in that situation, because it's not a good place to be. Like before my ex had passed away, his pseudo aunt, like former aunt, through marriage, she was like, oh, do you want the girls to like say goodbye to their dad, my daughters? And I was like, no, it would confuse them. They're young, they would be confused, they wouldn't know how to, handle that. Like when my great grandmother had passed away, I was like 10. So seeing her, like her body at a funeral, just it was like weird. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to, function. Like, what do I do? Do I pray? How do you pray? Because, I wasn't, my mom, never taught me about any of that stuff. My family's Catholic, but I don't follow in the following, I don't follow in the belief. My mom just never took me to church and things like that. She got forced to go to church when she was younger, and she just didn't want me to get forced to do that. So she's I would say, non-practicing Catholic, so. But yeah, it's weird, death. It's very strange, because the thing that, it wasn't like the body that was, that person. It was the vessel, the soul, or whatever you call it, that was inside that person. With death, you can see like this person's soul, this person's personality, their brain, the way it functioned, it's gone, and all that's left is this body, It's just, it's very weird. It's a very weird feeling until you've experienced it yourself. You really don't know, the full extent. It's just a very weird feeling. It's in a very weird place to be when it comes to that. But anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent talking about death. It's kind of depressing. So anyways, I'm with a book where she's kind of gotten over her grief of like not seeing her grandmother again, and now she's at the point where she's gonna, do stuff with around the area where she's being taken care of with this guy. I can't remember his name. Now I can't remember the characters' names. I think his name is Colin, now that I'm thinking about it. His name is Colin, and her name is Megan, but I guess her grandmother and everybody called her Meggie, so he calls her Meggie. So she tells him that, she's basically from the future, and he kind of like takes it like, okay, kind of thing. And it's always funny because it's like, you would think that these people would be freaking out, or they think you're like a total nut job, Like there's some people who were superstitious back in the day, and if you knew certain things, you were called a witch and basically like burned, because they thought it was like witchcraft and all that stuff. Just weird superstitious shit back in the day that it's like, man, people were just majorly superstitious. Even now, some people, like some cultures, still have that like superstition, So I don't know. I just don't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in like superstition and different things like that. I'm kind of like at the point where I believe it when I see it, kind of thing. So that's pretty much how it goes with me. But yeah, that's pretty much my update right now with what I'm reading. Like I said, the one I'm really into, and I will get through that one hopefully quickly. I think I'm about 30% in, and I'm getting through that pretty well. But those other two, it's slow. It's a slow process. It may take me a while to get through them, so that way I can review them. But yeah, I'm trying to get through that Cherith Michaels one, but it's really slow. And then, like I said, with that other one, I heard the character cheats, and it kind of makes me leery about like reading the rest of it. So, but I want to get through that series because I heard it's a really good series, and I liked the first book. So I heard the third. I heard that like the third book is better. So I'm trying to get through the second book so that way I can get to the third one. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with this review, with my reading and all that stuff. So I will talk to you all later. Okay, update. I'm about 50% in to, is it the Shield and the Thistle? I don't know. I have to put it over on the side. I think that's what it's called. The Shield and the Thistle, something like that. I like it, but I will say, like, it is very slow. It's slow burn. It's definitely slow burn type of romance. Now, they have gone and they've done stuff like they've made out and things like that, you know. They've gone and they've made out, you know, kiss, things like that. And he told her, you know, like he wants her. But he had told her that he doesn't want to ruin her good name, you know, like back in the day, you know, you didn't just sleep with some woman, you married them, you know. So unless you wanted someone as your mistress. So, but so he told her, you know, he wants her, he wants to, you know, be with her that way, but he wants to marry her because there's something about her that, you know, he feels like, you know, in a way God sent her to him, like he's blessed. And I was like, that's nice. I just like that, you know, because he's a very nice guy. Like ever since, like he basically rescued her, he's been such a, you know, nice guy. It's like too many times, you know, you run across like the hero in the book and it's like he's kind of an asshole. And so I don't know, it's like you can kind of have a guy that can be a little bit, you know, dickish, but is a sweetheart. Like maybe he's a dick to everybody else, but he's like, you know, super sweet too. Like the heroine, you can have those types of, you know, heroes. But this one here, it's like he's nice to everybody. Like, you know, he teases his brothers because he's got like these brothers and he teases them. But otherwise, it's like they all seem like, you know, the family, they love each other and they, you know, want to take care of each other. It's nice to see that, you know. Especially in today's world, it just seems like everybody just hates everybody, and it's just like I just don't like it. I can feel, you know, so many people's like just hate or distrust of other people, you know, and it just makes me sad. So yeah, like I like to be around happy people, like people who are generally happy people. Like they're always like very bubbly and outgoing and positive. I'd rather be around people like that because I have been around, you know, people my whole life that have always been very negative and talk shit about others, you know. And I grew up with that a lot, and I was just like, I got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to go and dislike somebody because, you know, of like shallow things. Like my mom, unfortunately, will be like that. Like my mother does not like the actress Julia Roberts based on her teeth. And I'm like, that's such a shallow reason to not like somebody. It's such a shallow reason. I like Julia Roberts as an actress. I think she's a good actress. And I loved Pretty Woman when it came out. I still love that movie. Still a good flick. But I like her. So I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, Mom, you don't like this actress because of her teeth. She can't help that her teeth, she's got a wide mouth. She can't help that. You know, maybe that's something that's, you know, an insecurity for her. And then like calling out her insecurity. It's just, oh. My mom, like, over the years has kind of gotten like, hello, has gotten like more and more, you know, like bitter and angry. And it's like, what do you have to be bitter and angry for? You know, you're the one that chose to live a certain life and a certain lifestyle. And now you have to deal with the consequences to your actions. So, for me, it's like, I like this book. You know, even though it's a slow burn, which some books I don't like, because I'm like, oh my God, this is such a slow burn. But this here, I like the daily life where, you know, she gets to be in the kitchen and she's cooking for them. And basically the guy who's the laird of the castle, he's pretty much like, hey, you know, do what you want, you know, if it makes you happy kind of thing. Because I guess their mother was kind of the same way, where, you know, she liked to go out and you know, tend to like the crops and stuff like that. That was something that she liked to do. It made her feel good. And so I like that aspect to it, that they're pretty much like allowing her to do that. You know, like it could be way more restrictive, especially during that time, being like the 1600s, but they're definitely being a lot more like freeing of her to, you know, like cook different things. And she's bringing things to them that haven't been even invented yet. So she's kind of like taffy and just things like that. It's just, I don't know when taffy was invented, but I don't believe it was in the 1600s. So I think it was a lot later than that. But yeah, I like this book. It's very sweet. You know, I just like the relationship. And she's not a problematic heroine. There's so many times I get so tired with the problematic heroine. Like, I love Outlander, but there are times Claire annoys the fuck out of me, where I'm like, Claire, you were back in the past, girl. You're not in like the 1940s anymore. You're back in like the 15 or 1600s. So it's like, it's going to be different. It's different times, you know? So there are times like Claire, and I don't read the books, but I watch the show, that Claire just annoys me. And Jamie just adores her. And I'm just like, dude. I'm like, she is so annoying. So I will say, like, this heroine is less annoying than Claire. So yeah, I do like that fact, but that's pretty much where I'm at right now with it. I'll update again when I get through with it, you know, finish it off and stuff. So I'll update later my progress and how I thought of the book. Right now, I'd say as it goes, I'll probably give this 4 stars, but that's what I'm predicting. I don't know if it'll stay the same or not, but we'll see. But I'll talk to you later. Hi everyone. So I finished the book. Here's my shirt. I'd rather be reading. I wonder if people often wonder, you know, because I have sayings on my shirt sometimes, and you know, when I go and I look over my video, I'm like, I wonder if people wonder like what everything says on my shirt. So yeah, I thought I'd show that. So I finished the book, and I will say, like, this is definitely more of a slow going romance. It did have a twist ending. I thought for sure something was going to happen, but then it didn't, and I was like, okay. So I gave this one 5 stars. I'd give it about 3 for the spice rating. It's a pretty good spice to it. I would say I really enjoyed the day-to-day the day-to-day aspects that Maggie started to have with her life there, you know, back in like the 17, you know, I think it was like 1750s, the 1750s. And there was this ending that like I said, I wasn't expecting. I like the way I kind of like the way the author did it. So, but yeah, you have like, most of it is just kind of like their day-to-day life, but there are like a few instances where there is more, a little more faster pace with like things happening. She ends up getting kidnapped, kind of like how Claire got kidnapped in Outlander, and she dealt with I will say no. Oh, I need to add that aspect into my review too. She never got sexually assaulted, or, you know, like no attempt, you know, was made for her. I would say there was a scene where it was almost that way. I'll take it back. It was almost that way. She almost got forced to give a guy, you know, oral, and she took care of him. So I'm like, good for you, girl. Because that's the one thing. It's like, look, men have vulnerable spots down there. Besides their shaft, the boys, you know, the backup singers, very delicate. So you just do a little tug. That man is not moving, I will tell you that. If you rip down his backup singers, believe me, that man is falling to the ground and crying in agony. He ain't getting up to try to hurt you. Oh, do that. I'm telling you. It will work. So, she does that. And I'm like, good for you, girl. Good for you. Fighter. I like a fighter. Yeah. So that happened. And Colin finds her. I'm not going to say what happened at the end. I'll just say, like, you know, if you know Outlander, you know, you kind of suspect what happened at the end. So, so yeah, this was very, very much like, I'd say almost kind of like Outlander fan fiction. But it did have like a few twists and turns to it. There also had like, there was like witchcraft to this too. Like, I'd say Outlander's a little more historically accurate when it came to like women being accused of witchcraft, and they were just regular women, you know, because of the superstitions and all that stuff. But this here actually had a bit of, I would say, besides a bit being like historical romance, it also was a bit of like a fantasy as well, because there was a woman who actually was a witch in here, and she actually did have the ability to cast spells and things like that. So that was interesting. That was an interesting aspect to the book. So I really liked it. I really did like it. Like I said, it's very slow. It's slow paced. It took me like over a week to get through it. Very slow paced. But I really, really liked it. There were a few things, like I would say, I've said before, it has like a lot of descriptive stuff to it. Like, I would say like there's probably some things in it that maybe the author could have chosen to kind of like edit out and leave out. It really wasn't necessary for the story, but I still enjoyed, you know, what I read. And I will say the ending was kind of a little bit bittersweet, I will say. Like, the couple does have a happily ever after, but it is a little bittersweet, I will say that. But other than that, yeah, it was really good. I'm really trying to get more into like historicals again and stuff like that, because I have a ton of historicals I need to read that are on my shelf that I'm hoping I can get to soon and try to get through them. I've been really feeling historicals lately. Maybe because it's toward the holidays and stuff. And fall kind of really sparks my interest in, like, you know, historicals and things like that. I don't know why, but it does. It sparks, like, historical vibes. I really might consider doing maybe some thrillers or something like that toward Christmas time, because sometimes I'm not always in the mood for Christmas books. I'm not sure if in November or December I will be interested in any type of like holiday Christmas books. I'm gonna try to pull some out and see if I can try to get through some. See, I don't know how successful I'll be, but yeah, there are days like I really should probably do like Christmas in July, because I bet you I probably would dig that. When it's in like summer and it's the heat, maybe I might be more interested in reading Christmas or wintry types of books then, because then I'm like, oh, cold weather, cold weather, cold weather, cold weather, you know? So maybe my body would cool down during those months where it's like super freaking hot, even though it was warm today. But yeah, that's all I've read so far. I'm hoping that I can kind of get through some other books and go from there. But yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourself a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I will see you all on the next video. All right.